What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hope you like this video. All my social media is in the description. So this is Mexican Dynasties, the season finale. I hope the show comes back. I like it. I think it's a really cute show. But let's get into it. Let's just jump into where we are, you guys. So, the Adonde family. Adon is still staying with his brother Alon and his wife Jenny. And he's saying the same thing he was saying before. And he's telling them what happened when he talked to his parents and told them that he wasn't going to perform with his dad at the show. I remember that's where we left off last week with his mother just telling him how dumb he was. Like, you're just so stupid. You're so stupid. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? Now, he gave an explanation that he gave to his dad that they didn't show us last week. He told his father, well, look, I haven't copywritten these songs, and so I don't want to sing a song that's not copywritten, so, I end up getting burnt on the back end. That makes sense. However, I'm sure you had other songs you could sing, because that was the one thing they were bragging about at the beginning of the season, and why he didn't do the voice is because he has all these songs that he's written that he didn't want to have to lose control over. So, that, it's a good reason, but it's still a little weak, because I think there were other songs you could sing if you wanted to. And of course, you know how they do on these shows. They have the split screen, so they're cutting over to Marty and Fernando. And she's upset, and she's crying, and she's saying how much she misses her son, and she wants him to come home. And Fernando was like, look, he's with his brother. They taking care of each other. It is what it is. Like, I think he's upset a little bit, but he's not being as extra as Marty is being. And again, there's a part of me that's like, I get it. She's his mom, and she loves him, and she misses him. But the other side of me is like, you doing a lot. You being real extra. Because, first of all, this hadn't even been a week. Come to find out, he hadn't even been gone a week. But then he gets a phone call. They said he got a phone call at about 11 o'clock at night. They don't know who called him. They don't know what that person said. But all of a sudden, in less than 20 minutes, Adon packed up all his stuff and left. And he won't return their phone calls or their texts. Jenny and Alon don't know. They assume he went back home, but they don't know what it is. And then they start getting into this whole black magic voodoo shit stuff. And then they said that they feel like maybe they had Adon seeing a psychotherapist and she's brainwashed him, and there's a code word and somebody called and said the word and it just turned him into a zombie and he went home. No, let me tell you what happened. It wasn't no black witch, no black magic. It was a black card, okay? Mama called and said, look, I've been playing this game with you for a couple of days. I let you go over there and have a slumber party with your brother. But let me tell you what's about to happen. You're going to pack your shit. You're going to bring your ass back home. Or tomorrow when you go to run that debit card, it's going to be declined. That's what Mama did, okay? She was like, I'm playing with your ass long enough. But now it's time for you to come on back home. I don't believe it was y'all know I told y'all that last week. I ain't getting into no black magic and all of that stuff. But I really think that they control his purse strings, because Adon don't have no real job. And he's used to living at home, 3 meals a day, sleep till he want to sleep, gets up when he feels like getting up. And when he gets up, his clothes are iron pressed and laid out for him. When he wants to go somewhere, he's got an Uber or a cab or a personal driver or whatever the situation is. When he wants to go shopping, mommy and daddy buy him his clothes. I cannot say Adon absolutely has no money of his own. I cannot get into his financial situation. But what I can say is he don't have as much money as his parents do. And I really think that's what at the end of the day, I really think that's why he took his ass back home. Because Marty called and said, okay, I've been playing with your ass long enough. And he did. Do I think Adon wants to be independent? I do. But do I think Adon wants to put in the work to be independent? I don't. And at the end of the day, Jenny, and it's more Jenny than Alon, is sort of pulling him in one direction. And of course, Marty, it's more Marty than Fernando, is pulling him in another direction. What he needs to do is go and become independent of both sides. Go get his own apartment. Go get his own place. Say, look, I'm going to do Sunday dinner with you. Hey, I'll come over for breakfast sometime with you. Hey, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he needs to do. He really needs to find independence from both sides. But we're going to get into that a little bit further on. So, let's talk about Oscar and Paulina, who, y'all know I love me some Oscar. I love Oscar and Paulina. I love his mama, too. His mama, I love her. She is hilarious. And Tariq is back in town visiting from Brazil. And they seem to be having a really good time. He's showing him all around Mexico City. And after this show, I really want to go to Mexico City. I've never been to I've been to Mexico, but I've never been to Mexico City. I really want to go now. It's a beautiful city. It looks really beautiful, and I would love to go now. I have to put that on my list of places I want to visit. Um, and he actually lets Tariq come. I mean, yeah, he actually lets Tariq come and meet the kids, and the kids were like, we gotta check this out, and they met him. They had a really good meeting with Tariq. Tariq said all the right things, and they kind of grilled him a little bit. It was really cute. They grilled him a little bit. And the kids said in their confessional, they said, he seems really nice. He's educated. He seems really sweet and all of that, But if he breaks our father's heart, I said, I know that's right. Y'all better stand for y'all daggone daddy. But it was really sweet. And when it was time to leave, Tariq actually got emotional and got a little choked up a little bit because he said, he really enjoyed visiting. And he was like, I appreciate you letting me meet the kids. And it was really sweet. Now, unfortunately, we found out at the end, him and the long distance just couldn't beat the long distance. Because here's the thing about a long distance relationship. At some point, somebody's going to have to move. You know what I mean? And in some cases, we can see people that can do it for years and years and years. And in other cases, it can't last for more than months. There are some successful long-distance relationships, but it has to depend on the type of relationship you want to have with somebody. If you have the kind of relationship where you cool with only seeing your significant other once every couple of months or however long and just talking and FaceTiming, then that's probably a perfect situation for you. But if you're the kind of person that needs that constant time with somebody, a long distance relationship probably is not your thing. And I believe Oscar is that kind of person. But we see that Oscar actually has found love. He's dating a British guy named Kennedy, something like that. Who he's from Britain, but he lives in Mexico City. So yay for Oscar. I'm sorry I went all the way to the end with that one, but we're going to just kind of go through that. We see Raquel and Doris, and Raquel is dealing with guilt. She's dealing with survivor's guilt. She's, admitting that she hasn't fully grieved, that she's been kind of on autopilot, but that she is lonely and she does want to date, but she doesn't want to be disrespectful to the memory of her husband. And her daughter, I think she needed to hear Doris say, Mom, it's okay. It's okay. Because I think Doris's initial response to Sam maybe gave Raquel pause. But I feel like Doris is saying, Mom, I get it. Like, Dad would want you to be happy. Like, what do you think Dad would say to you? And she said, well, he'd tell me, to date. She said, okay, then. She said, it's okay. And so Raquel said, I think I'll give myself a year. And, at about a year, then I'll start looking at dating and actually going out and spending time. She said, but I do want companionship. I want a partner. And, unfortunately, a lot of people deal with that, the surviving spouse. And we see that, we learned through this show that Raquel met her husband when she was, 15? And they were in love. It was almost like love at first sight. And they were together until he passed away. So you're talking about 60 years of togetherness. That's a lot. That's a lifetime. And like Doris said, my mother has never been alone. Because she went straight from her parents to my husband to kids to, like, she's never been alone. So, but it was nice to see, Raquel doesn't give vulnerable a lot. So it was nice to sort of see her be vulnerable. Before Don moved, we did see that him and Alon and Jenny had a couple of jam sessions, and he called old girl on the phone and was flirting and talking about I miss you and all this other stuff. So he was having a great time, and then like I said, he just disappeared. He just left. But like I said, I told y'all why he left, so I ain't gonna keep dwelling on that. So what happened? Because I want to okay. All right. I kind of already talked about that. Because what happened next was him leaving. Okay. Oh, okay. That's what it was. I'm trying to... So Jenny and Alon set up a meeting with Doris to basically tell Doris what happened, and that's when they had this whole conversation about black magic and voodoo, hoodoo, whatever. And again, I told you I'm not going to get too deep into that because I don't like it. I don't like talking about it. I don't like questioning people's beliefs and all of that. But I don't think that any of this is connected to any type of black magic. Like I said, it's connected to a black card, but whatever. So we see Adon back home, and he's back to being the Adon he was at the beginning of the season, up under his parents and hugging and kissing and mommy, I love you, mommy, I miss you, I'm sorry, you know. And his dad, he said, you know, I changed my mind, I want to perform now. And his dad was like, well, you're going to have to call the band leader and you're going to have to talk to him. He said, well, can you do it? He said, no, you're going to have to do it. He said, because I don't know if they're going to let you perform now because you told them no. And the show was like the next day. So Adon was like, okay, well, I'll call, but can you do like a little introduction? No, because what you want him to do is non-verbally throw his weight around. You want your dad to call because he's the headliner and it's really his show to sort of give that message to the band leader like, hey, let my son back on the show. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. You call him, and if they say you can come, then that's fine. But no, I'm not going to do it. And for that, I can respect Fernando. Because, you know, Fernando was like, you know, you don't get to get back and forth and play these games. No, you're not going to do it. So, but of course he called, and of course they let him back in. You know. Of course, you know. And Marty is so happy. You can't, oh my gosh, she's so happy. You just can't tell her nothing. But anyway, so now we have, everybody's getting ready for the show, right? Now, Jenny, I like you, Jenny. I do. Jenny be retweeting me and liking me and liking my reviews and stuff. I like you, Jenny. But Jenny, you gotta let it go. You. It's like, it's almost like when you have a friend who's in an abusive relationship. All you can do is let them know you're there. All you can do is say, hey, when you're ready, I got you. If you need a ride, if you need somewhere to stay, if you need a few dollars, like that's all you can do. And I'm not even talking about physically abusive. I just mean mentally abusive or whatever. That's all you can do with somebody. And it's almost like Jenny is trying to make Adon make a decision. And Adon has already let y'all know he ain't capable. The most he can give y'all is 3 days. That's what he gave y'all. He gave y'all 3 days at y'all apartment before he had to go back to, you know, his 3 a day with the maid service and all that. Like he let you know what it is. And Jenny, I think you allowing yourself to get too caught up in this. But anyway, and now the rumor done spread about this black magic. Oscar and Paulina, they got sage and they got the palm or whatever it was he was beating everybody with on their way to the show. But they get to the show, and lo and behold, who's opening up the show? Adon. So of course Jenny and Alon are sitting there like, and Doris is sitting there like, what the fuck? And Doris is like, what? She was like, so you didn't even have the respect me enough to say to me, I'm supposed to be your publicist, but you don't even let me know that you're performing at one of the biggest venues at such an important event. Like, I could have done something with this. So she just go, you know, he sings this, and I actually like this song, you guys, and there's a video for it and everything now. And he sounded really good. He didn't try to hit that little high note that's not in his key and all that other stuff. And Doris even said that. Doris said he sounded good. She said he didn't try, you know, he stayed in his range, and he sounded really good. The problem though was, and this goes back to people who know that they're not necessarily making, like somebody know they sat there and talked slam trash to you about somebody else, and then you see them with that person and they like, because you sat there and said all this stuff about your parents are controlling, your parents this, your parents that, and you not performing, and you not doing this, and you not doing that, and you not only you opening for the show, you opening the show, you introduced your dad. You didn't return people's phone calls. You didn't return people's texts. So it's almost like you felt like you did something wrong, and instead of embracing it. So when he got done singing, he comes, because the venue is like tables. They're all sitting, and they're guests of the Adon, so they're all sitting there together. So when Adon comes off stage, Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So when Adon comes off stage, um, he comes and sits with them, and Jenny is trying to talk to them. Now, here's where Jenny was getting on my nerves, okay? That wasn't the time or the place, Jenny. All you had to say was, A, glad to know that you're okay. Let's talk later. But instead, you decided you wanted to try to have a conversation with him. Well, Fernando was on stage, and y'all have great seats. Y'all are down front. He can see and hear what's going on, and it's just distracting and it's rude to somebody on stage. Two, that just wasn't the appropriate time or place. And then Marty said to her, "Shh, Fernando is on stage." Now, Jenny took it somewhere it didn't go. She said, she told me to shut up and wouldn't let me talk to him and said I couldn't speak to him. No, that's not what she was saying. What she was saying was, have that conversation later because Fernando is on stage and you're being rude. That's what that was. So in that one, I was with Marty on that because even before they said anything, I was like, why is she talking? Why is she trying to have this conversation with him? So she gets all upset, and then I felt like she got disrespectful and started threatening to put her hands on Marty, and she'll smack her, and she'll do this and she'll do that. And I was like, okay, Jenny, now you're just doing too much. You are doing way too much. She ends up going out. Doris goes out with her. Alon goes out with her, and they get to talking and calming her down and everything. But I felt like Jenny, in that sense, that was you. That wasn't Marty. That was you. And you were being rude while Fernando was on stage. That was too much. Fernando looked like he tore the house down, honey. He did his thing. His fans was singing and singing along to the words, and Oscar got up dancing and all this good stuff. It looked like it was a really good show, and everybody was hugging and thanking each other and everything. Then there was the after party over to the Adonde house. Now, Doris did have a conversation with Adon, and she told him, look, you sounded great. You really did. You sounded really good. But back at the house, Jenny tries to have a conversation with Adon. And again, this is where I feel like she's just pushing too hard. He's not ready. He's not ready to make a full-time decision. He gave y'all the best he got. He gave y'all 3 good days. That's all he had. That's all. He's not ready. He's not ready to separate himself from his parents. And he don't have no more to give you. And Jenny, you can't push because this is a situation. The more you push, the more he's going to go in the other direction. And what Adon is seeing it as, Adon is like, look, I know my parents are crazy. I know that they're a little over the top and extra. He said the only difference is between me and between Jenny and my brother is I've accepted it. And I don't agree with his summation, but that's how he sees it. I don't agree with that. I don't think that they haven't accepted it. I think that they've just decided I'm not going to be on the front row of it. Like, you're my mom and I love you, but I'm going to live over here with my family and I'll see you when I see you type of thing. Him and Doris had a conversation, Adon and Doris. And Adon says, well, I still want to have a business relationship with you and I want to keep the family separate from the business. And I think Doris made the best decision she done made over the last 5 or 6 episodes. She said, I tell you what. She said, I need to see you do this for a year. If you can keep your family and business separated for a year, then we'll revisit me working with you. But for right now, I can't do the back and forth. I don't want to sacrifice my relationship with Marty. I'm not going to do it. And Adon was like, that's fair. I can see how you would feel that way. That's fair. But we find out later on that Doris is working with Jenny and Alon. So that'll be interesting to see how that whole thing works. Jenny and Don have released their single because this was sort of the end of it. We see everybody's at the after party over to the house, and so we kind of doing. Everybody's going around. They, Oscar and Paulina snuck off to go into Marty's room, but they didn't film in there. So again, I didn't see nothing that would make me feel like this woman is practicing any type of dark magic or anything like that. Adon tried to make the relationship with their friend work, but he ended up dumping her for no reason. And he had booked a cruise for the two of them to go on, but come to find out, he dumped the girl and took his mother and father with him on the cruise. It just ain't something ain't right. Paulina and her boyfriend are still going strong. They've celebrated their 1-year anniversary. Raquel is thinking about doing some online dating. Doris did go home, but she's back and forth, checking on her mom. And that's pretty much where we ended. I hope we get a season 2 because I definitely want to see this Adon, Alon, Jenny. I told y'all, I feel like Oscar and Paulina, I feel like they could have their own show all to themselves. And I feel like the Adondes could have their own show all to themselves because those two families, they bring so much. And they have so many different moving parts within their family. But anyway, like I said, I like the show. I thought it was pretty decent. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.